Could the Houston Texans actually trade DeAndre Hopkins?
Yep, the cowboy, Mr. McLean. You Americans are all alike. But this time, John Wayne doesn't walk into the sunset with Grace Kelly.
Scary Cooper, asshole.
Oh, Diva! Oh, shit! Oh, shit! That was crazy!
Happy trails, Hans.
Dallas still stinks.
Everybody doing? King Dingbat here, and I hope everybody's having a great day. Look, I know things have been crazy. They've been tough. No sports, no schools, supermarkets with a bunch of dingbats stealing all the toilet paper. It's been crazy. There's talks of lockdowns, all sorts of stuff. But at least we got NFL free agency kicking off. NFL, only show in town, man. And it's going to be fast, and it's going to be furious. Legal tampering begins probably, I think, within the next hour. Franchise deadline's about to come. The Dallas stinking Cowboys, go ahead. They have to franchise Dak Prescott. How much could this team love Dak Prescott when they literally can't get a deal done all year, all off season so far, and they have to franchise tag him? I think that there's something really messed up with that, and those type of things have a way of where both parties go different ways at the end. You've seen it with Kirk Cousins and other players. How much is Dak Prescott going to be stuck on a franchise tag deal? So it's going to be interesting to see what they do over there in hell with the satanic star on their helmets and all those kind of things. Now, the Eagles did make some moves today, okay? Well, so far, it's going to be busy, and there's probably going to be multiple, but so far, the Eagles have done a small but good move, in my opinion, by re-signing defensive tackle Hassan Ridgeway to a one-year deal, okay? He's 25 years old. I thought he played pretty good at the end of the year last year. He was hurt and a little bit injured during the year, but he came on at the end of the year. I think he had 2 sacks. And I think for a depth piece on that defensive line, I think he's a good signing. I think he has upside. I think he could be a pretty decent player in this league. And if they can continue to develop him, I think he could be a good piece for the Eagles. So the Eagles re-sign Hassan Ridgeway, and I think that's a perfect way to start off this free agency period. It's going to be fast, and it's going to be furious, and I cannot wait. So the other thing I want to talk to you guys about real quick is wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins of the Houston Texans. That's right, one of the best wide receivers in this league, DeAndre Hopkins, because Peter King of Monday Morning Quarterback, a guy who I think usually has a pulse of what's going on in the NFL, whether things come to pass or not, he knows what the talk is, he knows what teams are thinking, he knows what could be out there, and he wrote an article saying that the Houston Texans could be looking to shop DeAndre Hopkins. Now, part of the reason they want to do this is because they have no top 50 picks in the next 2 drafts. They have none, and they're looking to get younger on their roster. He had, I guess, a little bit of a down year last year, so they're thinking maybe they got the best out of him, move him while he's young, and they're going to be looking to move him. Now, there were 5 teams that there was talk about being interested in him on Pro Football Talk. It was the Eagles, the Raiders, the Packers, the Patriots, and there was one other team I can't remember, maybe in the 49ers. But DeAndre Hopkins could be getting moved. Now, he has 3 years left on a deal at $40 million. He's $14 million against the cap for the Houston Texans. Now, if they trade him, 3 of that $1 million, basically Houston would have to eat. And so he would only cost a team about $11 million in a trade, something like that. So he's pretty reasonable, pretty affordable, and he also is 27 years old. He will be 28 years old come June. I think it was June 6th, something like that. The only reason I remember it was the 6th is because I'm the 2nd. But he'll be 28 in June, and he could be getting moved. This is very possible. This is how crazy I think free agency is going to get this year. Now, if DeAndre Hopkins, one of the best wide receivers in this league, is available at 28 years old for the next 3 years, I have to go after him. If I'm the Eagles, I have to do it. I have to try, because He's a stud, man. I don't care who you draft. Okay, DeAndre Hopkins is an established player. He is also only going to be 28 years old. If he was maybe a year older, 2 years older, I would say no way. But with having 3 years left on a deal at $40 million, which is very reasonable, by the way, I have to do it. I have to do it. What are they looking for? I have no idea. I would assume it's a first-round pick. I would give a first-round pick for DeAndre Hopkins. I would give the 21st pick overall for DeAndre Hopkins if possible. So, if Houston said, all right, we'll give you DeAndre Hopkins for your 21st pick, it's done. It's done. Obviously, if I could do it for like a second and a third, I would do that beforehand. But I would give a first-round pick for him. Then I would come back in the second round, and maybe I would draft Acuna, or I may even try to trade up in the second round and get like a Grant Delpit or somebody like that at safety. But DeAndre Hopkins, if he becomes available, I got to jump on it. I mean, I guess the Texans are looking to get younger. They know they don't have top 50 picks in the next 2-year drafts, and they want to get some guys. So they must look at him and say, you know what, he's 27 years old. We think we got the best out of him. Let's move on from him. Me, if I'm the Eagles, I jump on this. DeAndre Hopkins with Carson Wentz. Can you imagine? Oh, I'm going to get weak in my knees. You know what I mean? Damn, that would be awesome. But, yeah. DeAndre Hopkins could be on the move. He could be on the move. Now, there's nothing confirmed. Houston's never going to admit that they're shopping around. But, like I said, Peter King usually has a pretty good idea of what's going on. He has a pulse for what these teams want to do or trying to do. Doesn't always work out, but at least you know that most likely Houston has said this out loud, or at least tried to gauge interest of other teams. And that's what happens in the NFL. That's what happens all the time. But DeAndre Hopkins, to me, is a special player. And if I'm the Eagles, I go up and I get him. You know what I mean? Because I just think the tandem of him and Carson Wentz would be fantastic. So keep an eye on that, as we get closer to the draft and those kind of things, which the draft is still going on as scheduled too. There's going to be no fans in attendance, but they're going to have it. And I'm glad. I know the NFL's kind of getting some crap for continuing free agency and things like that, but man, thank God, because there's nothing else to watch in sports-wise, and I love this time of year. I've been waiting for months for this time to get here. So, exciting day. Going to be a lot of stuff going on, probably multiple videos, maybe live streams. So be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything, and it's going to be great. With that said, take care, talk to you later, and don't be a dingbat.